We're here today at the wonderful Northbourne Bowls Club in Melbourne, Victoria, and very fortunate to be joined by past president of World Bowls, Betty Collins, OAM, and also the current president of World Bowls, Darryl Clout, who are here today we've had a light lunch and a get together, and we look forward to talking about all things bowls, both across the world but also in Australia. So look, it's wonderful to have these two guests here today.
Well, I feel very privileged to have served on the board of World Bowls and having 2 terms as president, and I was involved in the preparation for unification. In 2001 we commenced the world body, which was quite a challenge really, bringing the men and women together at that level, because I don't think there was any country at that stage that was. Bowls Australia were close to being unified, but not quite there. So it was very challenging times in many regards. I'm absolutely delighted to know, firstly, that the world headquarters are coming to Australia, something that I've dreamed of ever since we talked about unification, and it's great to see it to come into fruition after just 21 or 2 years. And I think the world body is in excellent hands with Darryl as president, somebody who's had many years in sports administration and bringing that expertise to it. And Neil, of course, whom we all have known here for many years in Bowls Australia as a great administrator. And I think the world body is in very good hands.
Yeah, I'm very aware of the place that Betty holds in the sport. And it's a privilege to be here with her today. I haven't had much of an opportunity to meet with her since my involvement in bowls, but she's been a leader in our sport. As she mentioned, she's been there at a critical time where the sport was unified, men's and women's, and that was a major step forward. So I'm very happy that I've got the chance to meet with her and learn from her experience. And I should just say that flattery will get her everywhere, that she just earned her lunch by the remarks that she made about Neil and myself. I think we're at a critical stage in the development of the sport. From an international point of view, I think that we've been sort of quiet and not, I was going to say we were stagnating. That would be a bit unfair, but we weren't going going anywhere that really meant that the sport was developing in any serious sense. I think we were fortunate that the board eventually agreed that we should review our entire operation, where we were going, what we stood for, and that review has shown us, given us the evidence that we need to be able to push forward to come up with plans and that will mean that the sport will advance and take its place as one of the leading sports around the world. It's a challenging time for all of us, but I think that we've got people in place now in terms of the board, and certainly with our new CEO coming on board, that means we'll be able to meet the demands of our members and see the sport flourish.
The sport's very fortunate to have had Betty in her role as president, not only of World Bowls, but throughout, I suppose, the number of positions that she's had within the sport, and she has made a wonderful contribution to the game, and we're very lucky to have had her involved. And I think it says to me how important it is to get good people around the table, good leaders of the sport, as Darryl mentioned, and it's lovely to be here today. And to Darryl too, obviously his experience has been wonderful to have for me as, I suppose, one being the CEO of Bowls Australia, but now moving into this new role or new position at World Bowls soon, then having his guidance and support is invaluable to me, and I'm looking forward to starting the position. Fortunately, I was able to go to the Commonwealth Games this year and meet up with a number of the board members who were all very supportive, and I look forward to working with the entire board of World Bowls and all the member nations too. And for me, that's the role of World Bowls, is to be there for the members and support the members in their endeavours. And the elite and the high performance and the Commonwealth Games are wonderful profile aspects, but we know that bowls is very much a community sport, and and supporting all members of member nations is going to be important going forward. And I think we can grow our membership significantly, quickly, get more countries involved, but still support all of our existing members, which is most important. We've discussed this as well about the importance of having platforms, social media platforms, our website operating effectively and being able to communicate not only to our member nations, but more broadly to get people interested in the sport. And that, further down the track will be how do we get sponsors, partners, other interested groups within the sport is absolutely important. I mean, one of the challenges is to grow the commercial elements of World Bowls and try and bring more money in, which we then can invest back into the sport. Well, bowls, as we know, is a great sport, not only for people of all ages but all abilities, and the para bowls at the Commonwealth Games and being within the same competition and on the same greens sends a really strong message to all people out there that whether all abilities, age, you can play bowls. And we saw ages and all abilities on the green there in Birmingham, and that will be the case on the Gold Coast in 2023 at the World Championships, where this will be the first World Championships that are incorporating the para disciplines as well. And I think more broadly for the sport, these are one of the challenges, opportunities to get more people with and letting people know in the community that if you do have a disability or perhaps you're sight impaired, that bowls is a sport that you could participate in at a community level. And yes, there is a pathway that can take you through to a World Championship or a Commonwealth Games. Well, finally, I'd just like to thank Betty Collins and Daryl Clout for joining us today here at the Northbourne Bowls Club in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. It's a piece that we've put together that we might do again, and we'll have other guests into the future. But it's been wonderful to hear the insights and the experiences that both Betty and Daryl have shared with us today. And we thank them for the great work that they've done and are doing for the sport of bowls globally. And thank you for joining us.